Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. We see everyone starting to enter our room, so we'll give it a couple minutes as everyone's being let in. All right, families, thanks for joining us for our second coffee talk of 2021. Again, if you don't know me by now, I'm Moani Reitganals. I have the privilege of serving as your president for Aikane o Nuuanu, which is your parent-teacher organization. We exist to serve you, to make sure that we are supporting our school community, our keiki, our families, our community, so that our kids can achieve the best education that they possibly can, and make sure our school and our teachers and all of the great folks over there at Nuuanu have all of the support and the resources that they need that we can possibly provide. Again, a few housekeeping notes tonight. All attendees again are muted and your videos are turned off in order to provide for the best experience ever. If you have questions at all throughout this event, feel free to drop it in that Q&A box there at the bottom of your screen. You can also throw it into the chat. I'll be monitoring that throughout the entire session tonight. That's planned to go to about 7 p.m. Actually, Mr. Uemae has said if we have to go a little bit past, we will tonight. You know, hopefully we can get through everything within this 1 hour. We know how precious this time is away from your families during dinner time. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. I am going to attempt to see if I can share screen. I was having a little bit of technical difficulties before this, so let's see. Because before we actually begin tonight's coffee talk, I just wanted to walk you guys through a couple of quick updates for Aikane o Nuuanu. Hopefully everyone can see my PowerPoint. All right. Wanted to make sure that you guys are kept aware of what's going on. We want to first thank you. A big, 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 big mahalo to all of our families, teachers, staff, community members. We had a hugely successful fall fundraiser. We sent out membership packets, said, hey, become a member of Aikane o Nuuanu. If you can give, we know these are challenging times, but if you can give, please donate, because we have this huge goal to raise at least $50,000 this year. $50,000 is going to help us to air condition the rest of our grade levels. It is also going to help so that we can put more of those refillable water stations on campus so our kids don't have to walk halfway across campus in some cases in order to refill their water bottles in the middle of a hot day. And so that is our goal. We need at least $50,000 to make sure we can accomplish that this year. And thanks to all of your generous donations, we actually raised almost $11,000 already. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I mean, that equates to at least one more building of air conditioning and a little bit more. So we just got to keep pushing. So on that, we definitely, of course, have another fundraiser. Again, if you can give, this is part of Foodland's Give Aloha campaign. Many schools are participating, many nonprofits participate in this. It's for the entire month of September. Basically, if you make a donation at any Foodland store statewide, use your MyCutE card, of course, because they want you to use your MyCutE card, you know, and make sure you use our code 79024 or say Aikane o Nuuanu. It is going to help to raise funds for our elementary school. And the great thing about this program, you are gonna donate money, but Foodland will match your donation up to $249. So if you can give $10, hey, that is $20. That's an additional $10 for free to our school right now. So if you're a Foodland shopper, or you're not, maybe there's one around the corner and you have some money to give, please do so. Again, if you can't, we still appreciate your support, of course. But if you can, please go ahead. That's our fundraiser for September. Go to Foodland, do your shopping, check it out. Great poke, do a little bit of donation and they'll match us up to $249. So another update, I've gotten several emails today because I know tomorrow there's a virtual a day that's going on for the entire school. And so I know some families unfortunately haven't received your school t-shirts yet. We did run out of shirts at the end of last year. It's really honestly very hard for us to predict how much sizes to order, and what colors to order. And so we did do a campaign at the start of this year, said, hey, if you need an Aikane, a Nuuanu elementary t-shirt or a mask, put in your order. So we did receive your orders. Thank you very much. We are working with a local vendor to do the design and a mainland vendor to actually print it. And so we are waiting for those shirts to arrive. It will arrive, we're anticipating by end of month. Well, once we get those in, we're gonna send them home to your student's classroom. It'll come home to you and you'll receive them. So we're anticipating end of this month. Again, I apologize if your student doesn't have a shirt yet. I'm told, and Mr. Uemae can correct me afterwards, if you don't have your Nuuanu shirt, just wear a green shirt. It's like, that's your way to blend. We still got school community spirit. That's our color, go green. So please definitely do that. If you don't have your shirt yet, again, we're working on it. We will get it to you as soon as we receive it. Upcoming events. Obviously, with the increase in COVID cases, we made a really difficult decision once again. We had planned to do all of our events in person. Our kids miss each other. I mean, my kids come home super excited every day when they get to see their friends and see their teachers and just see people. And we had really hoped that we could do in-person events. Unfortunately, just with the increase in COVID cases, we just felt it was in the best interest of our school community for the moment to take a pause and move our events virtual. So our planned movie night for September has been canceled. We are actively working on transitioning all the events for at least the foreseeable future to a virtual event. So a couple of things you can save the date for. We have our regular Aikane board meetings. It's always the third Thursday of every month. So next week, Thursday, we have our board meeting. It is virtual. You can definitely join us. We talk about board decisions, financial decisions. Parents are always welcome. Families are always welcome to join us and weigh in. We take your comments very seriously and always will consider that. We have another coffee talk. These are held always on the second Thursday of the month. So next one's going to be on October 7th. And we are planning to still have a pumpkin carving activity on 10/22. We are trying to work right now to figure out a way to make it virtual or low contact, low risk for all of our families. So more information will be coming out as we solidify those details. I'd also be remiss for the families, we know how important intercession care is for y'all, especially if you're back to work, or maybe you're working remote like myself and just need some time to actually be able to focus on your work. So we have worked with the YMCA to host a fall break intercession at Nuuanu Elementary School. There is a minimum requirement. We need a certain number of students to actually sign up in order to hold it specifically at Nuuanu Elementary School for our keiki. And so information will be coming out about that in the next week. Look out for it. If you've got questions on that, you can always feel free to email me at pres@nuuanuschool.org. I'm happy to point you in the right direction for wherever your questions may lie. And that's our hopefully really fast, I talked really fast, updates on what's going on at Aikane o Nuuanu. But I know you're not here to listen to me talk all night. You're here to listen to our wonderful principal and hear what's the newest updates at Nuuanu Elementary School. And so thank you again, Mr. Uemae, for joining us and listening and having a dialogue with all of our families. Just first of all, I'm just going to start with just, it's been a month since we've talked. Are there any updates that's going on at the school that you want to share? Families, I know you guys have COVID questions. I got your questions. I'll definitely get to those. But let's just start with what's been the big updates?
Okay, so let me just share some information. You can get your calendars out. We did send out a notice about this, but picture taking is on September 17th. Oh, sorry, September 24th. It'll be at school. So again, write it in your calendar, get your haircuts, get your clothes ready and all that for your kids. We will have a school community council meeting on Tuesday, September 28th. Just get information from our community, from our students, and just and our staff working together. We will have construction on our covered courts. The covered gym is going to be under renovation for about 3 to 4 weeks. Based on my conversation with the contractor, it kind of looks like it's going to start on October 8th. So that's going to affect all the activities that are taking place in the covered court. But I still need to confirm the dates. He still needs to make sure we get all the supplies and resources and materials in from the mainland before they can start the project. Couple of other things that I want to share with you. If you know that you've changed your email address or your address or your phone numbers, can you just call the school, let us know? Our best communication out to every single parent is through our school messenger. If you didn't receive a school messenger today regarding our COVID case, then make sure you call our school, update your email addresses. If you do not open your email addresses from what we were told, what happens is the system eventually thinks that it's not a valid email address and it's going to stop sending emails. So looking at the reports that we get back, about 98% of the parents have updated email addresses, but there's a handful that's still maybe it's incorrect email addresses and so forth. So, if you didn't get an email today, please make sure you call the school, verify and update, either mom, dad's, email address or phone number and so forth. And two other things. If your child is sick, if somebody at home is sick, anybody at home is sick, we just ask that you just please keep everybody at home just to be safe. Get a COVID test if possible. So that way, when they come back to school, it doesn't just impact, your family, but it's going to impact everybody else who's at school. And it even impacts me as well, because I have to make the dreadful call to our parents, at 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock, or on a Saturday or a Sunday. I got to make these phone calls. And I always dread doing that because I know parents don't want to hear that at the other end. So, if somebody's sick at home, your child is sick, or you feel sick or under the weather, just stay home. And maybe go get a COVID test. So that way, when you come back to school, you're definitely sure that you're nice and healthy. And the last thing I want to share is, I've always asked our students the best protection, against, this variant is wearing your mask. And the only time they really, really take it off is during lunch. And, during lunch, the kids love to socialize. Don't get me wrong. As when I was in school, I love talking to, but we always have to remind them, hey, eat first, then put your mask on and have whatever conversation you want after that, but the kids, they're in class, they don't get to talk as much maybe because they got to, stay away 6 feet and 3 feet and all that. So when they get a chance to have that time to talk, they love doing it, but we just have to keep on reminding them, hey, eat first, put your mask on, talk after, and if you could just remind them at home, that would really help us out. And the funny thing is, you're not going to believe this, but our kindergarten, first, second, third graders, man, they're pretty superb about eating and then talking after. But for some reason, our upper grades, they just love to socialize, and so we gotta constantly remind them. So you can help me out. Just remind them, hey, the principal said you guys gotta eat first, put your mask on and talk after. Okay, so if you could just share that message with your children.
Great, thank you. I'm going to loop back to a couple of things that you mentioned. There was a lot, so I wrote down a few different questions. Can you first explain, I'm going to go to the very beginning, school community council, what is that? What is that and what does it mean to our families?
So the school community council is kind of a way for the parents to find out information about, what's going on at the school. So we go over things like our academic plan, we go over our financial plan, and then we even have like students involved as well, so they can get their perspective as, what they're doing at school, activities that they're doing. We look for our community members if there's ways that they can support our school. We ask our PTO if they can be involved in participating as well, because a lot of the things that we do at the school, it's not just one person being able to do all of these things. It's a collective effort. And so we meet quarterly to get input from various stakeholders, even businesses, if they want to do and participate, they're welcome to participate as well, so that we can get all our stakeholders involved in our children's education. So that way we can get the resources and support. And PTO has always been very generous, very nice, and very gracious with their time in helping us. But we want to try to get other people involved as well. So this is the venue to do that. Yeah.
Thank you for explaining that. Going to the covered basketball courts, can you just one more time explain for maybe families who missed last month what's going on there? What kind of renovations? Why are we doing it? Yeah.
So this was supposed to be done, I think, a couple of years ago, but for some reason it kind of got lost in transit or different contractors, shuffled around. And so it was supposed to be actually done during the summer of this past school year, before the school year started. So I guess there are some leaks in the roof, and that roof has been there for over 60 years, I think. So whenever there's like super heavy rain, sometimes it leaks on the court. But it's still better than outdoors kids playing in the rain, right? So it's been very helpful. But now I guess the project is actually moving forward, and it's just a matter of getting all the materials from the mainland, I guess, because of COVID too, right? The things are not coming in. So, we've been trying to work on it for the summer to get it done during the summer so it wouldn't impact us at school time. But unfortunately, everything got kind of pushed back a bit. So the roof is going to be repaired. The lower roof is going to be repaired. Um, and so that's what's going to happen. They said it's going to take first 10 days, then I think, oh, maybe 2 weeks. And now they're telling me about 3 or 4 weeks just to be on the safe side. So there's a lot of activities that go on in there. A+, we have recess, we have after school programs. So all these things are going to be affected. So we just have to be a little bit flexible for these 3 to 4 weeks. And we'll figure out a way to make everything happen, but we just got to be a little bit flexible.
Thank you. Before I move on to my next question, I was reminded nicely by my treasurer for Aikane Nuuanu that thanks to your generosity, we're actually at over $11,000 that has been raised so far. So thank you so much, families. Again, even though we are technically done with our fall fundraiser, we're never done with donations. So if you have capacity to give, drop off a check over there into the school office. We have a GoFundMe page. You can reach out to us. We can, accept credit card donations. So anything you can do to donate, you can donate any time of the year, and we will happily, obviously, accept that. So thank you to our awesome treasurer, Christine, for reminding me about that. I'm going to go backwards to one of your comments about absences. So, right, if a student is not feeling well, I think there's a question on, we did receive this in advance, on what is really the absence policy at Nuuanu Elementary School. So there's different, different kind of levels, right? Maybe you've been officially exposed, or in close contact with someone at the school. Maybe you've been in close contact with someone in your immediate family. How does that impact the policy at our school with regards to absence?
So if a child is required to quarantine, they will be considered absent from school, but it'll be an excused absent because it's not their fault. They have to quarantine, right? And now there are other parents that say, "Hey, I'm not sure if my child is sick or not, so I kind of want to get him tested to make sure that he's okay before I bring him to school." So those types of things would be unexcused absences. They're still absent, but they're going to be unexcused absences. I know we have a very strict policy about attendance because we want to make sure all our students are in school. But during these COVID times, we got to err on the side of caution, right? We got to be a little bit flexible here too. So, if parents have a doctor's note or, they're justifying as to why their child isn't in school, just to keep him home because he might have the sniffles and I don't want to infect anybody else. Shoot, I can't get upset about that, right? So we have to be a little bit mindful of, making sure other students are safe. So if parents want to keep their kids home for, illnesses or runny nose and things like that, they just got to contact the school to let us know, let their teacher know as well. And, if it's possible, the teacher will try to put together things, assignments for them to do while they're, out sick or whatever it may be. But if they're quarantining, our teachers will try to find a way, whether it'll be through packets in the office, to email or Google Classroom, whichever the best method is for our teachers to use. Some of them are very tech savvy. They'll get that assignment to the child who's at home. So every teacher is different. So you just got to make that connection with the teacher to see how you can get the assignments for your child.
Thank you. I'm going to stick on some COVID questions that we received
Sure.
in advance of tonight, and I'll, skip around to a couple of other questions. For those of us who are getting emails, again, families, if you're not receiving emails, we are getting emails pretty much every single week. So if you haven't received an email from Nuuanu Elementary School, chances are the school has your wrong email. Again, call the school and make sure that they have the right email on file. That's going to be your best way to get information. But we did receive an email, a few hours ago that there was a new COVID case on campus today. Or that was actually, I think from Tuesday was the actual incidents, and we got the notice today. Is there anything more you can share about that case? And if not, is there anything more that maybe you've learned about some of the past cases that we received?
So I know there was a lot of questions about, hey, Ned, is it like spread within the classroom? Is it spread within our school? And it was difficult for me to say yes or no at the time because once people are in quarantine, they have to get tested, which takes about 3 to 5 days, right? They get tested afterwards. knock on wood, and I don't like to jinx our school, but knock on wood, I'm going to keep on knocking on wood. Every single case that we've had, a person who was quarantining for a close contact has been negative so far. I'm still knocking on wood because that just shows to me that when it comes in from the outside into our school, it's not spread within our school. It's just from an isolated incident from outside in the community coming to our school. And that's why I kind of mentioned earlier, like if your child is sick or anybody in the household is sick, really, it really helps if you can just stay at home, just rest, because once it hits our school, then that requires me to make all these contacts, right? All these other families are impacted, what's happening, and then the teachers have to do additional things. And if they have a sibling at another school, now that impacts another school or two schools if they have multiple siblings going to middle school and high school. So it's a domino effect, and if you just can err on the side of caution, keep your child home because somebody in the household is sick. The hardest thing is, our children are not vaccinated. They don't have that opportunity to be vaccinated. But as adults, middle school, high school, we all can get vaccinated, but our children cannot, right? So, just just err on the side of caution. And that's what, for if your child is sick or feeling under the weather.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to, for those who were part of our coffee hour last month, there were some questions about, hey, if someone does test positive in my classroom, we know that you are notifying all the close contacts, which, correct me if I'm wrong right now, because I'm going off of memory, which is defined by someone who has been within, I think it was 6 feet for a period of 3 feet within a period of 15 minutes.
Or more, 15 minutes or more, over a 24-hour period.
And then you're going backwards 2 days, if I remember correctly, and then notifying all those
Correct.
families. Okay, so, but I happen to be in that classroom, or my child is in that classroom. So there was a question from families on, hey, can you just give a courtesy notice to the rest of the class, even if my child wasn't necessarily identified as close contact?
Sure.
Is there any updates on where that is?
So that question was posed at the last coffee talk, and I did reach out to our communications director. And I asked them because the parents are concerned. And if I was a parent, I understand I would be concerned as well if it was in my child's class, right? So the direction and the guidance I was provided was we cannot disclose the class because it's too close to identify the child who's in that class. And to be honest with you, I know some of you just ask your children like, hey, how was class today? Anybody missing? I'm pretty sure you guys can put two and two together to do that. But from my side, unfortunately, I cannot disclose, which classroom that is. I can only disclose to the people who are close contacts that there was an infection, in the classroom, and, just to let them know. So.
Thank you. And, I work in the healthcare field for those who don't know me. And, there is definitely very strict policies around HIPAA and privacy and compliance. So, I mean, I think, we can definitely understand the overall guidance. There is a question coming in saying that some other public schools are notifying the entire class. So I guess, how does that work where some schools are able to, some schools aren't? Does DOE have a policy across the entire state?
So I know when you watch the news, they only give bits and pieces of information without giving you the whole scope of things. And so for us, if 20% of the class is infected or something goes on with 20% of the class who are infected or more, then that's what requiring us to shut down a classroom. Okay, so you don't hear that on the news. Like, oh, they shut down the classroom. How come Nuuanu doesn't shut down their classroom? Or how come this other school doesn't shut it down? Because it all depends on the percentage of students that are involved, and depending on how many kids are in the class. There's all these different things that are involved in making these decisions. And I don't just flip a coin and say, we're shutting this class down. I have to go and talk to our COVID response team, which is the Department of Health, our complex area superintendent, communications. There's a bunch of people that are involved, along with even deputy superintendents. They're the ones that kind of provide our guidance and let me know, hey, I think this is what our next step should be. But again, I'm pretty confident. I'm not saying it's 100%. We're foolproof of COVID or anything like that. But our teachers are doing a wonderful job, at making sure our kids are safe and your kids are safe in class, right? And they're putting together the mitigation strategies, reinforcing the mask wearing, the social distancing, washing hands. If their masks are off, they stand on a nene feet. Putting all these things together, it just helps our children to be safe. If they're not wearing a mask, then they got to be at least 6 feet apart from somebody else. And just putting all these things in place, I feel confident that what we're doing is working because we haven't had a spread. Again, I'm knocking on wood because I'm so good at jinxing us. that we haven't had a spread within classrooms or within the school, right? That means what we're doing is currently working for us. Yeah.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing the protocols that you have to go through throughout this process. You talked about the news, so I'm going to switch over. There was actually a recent news story. I want to say it was on KHON yesterday or the day before about Hawaii schools ramping up our COVID tests. And so the question is if Nuuanu has signed up to expand COVID testing and screening on our campus.
So there are a couple of schools that did the trial period of doing this every 7 days or every week you do a weekly test. And I think it is free for the certain schools in the DOE, but I think for all DOE schools, I think it might be free. So we had a principals meeting today, and I was talking with some of our principals, but just realize that these are great mitigation strategies to have in place, but also realize that we still have the same resources at the school. So what I mean by that is right now, when there is a case in our campus and somebody needs to do some contact tracing, it's not like the Department of Health is coming down to Nuuanu school and say, hey, Ned, can I get the name of the kid and we'll do the contact tracing. It's you're looking at the person who's doing all the calling, right? So if I call you on a Saturday and a Sunday, it's not DOH, it's me, right? So they threw this layer at us, and it is what it is, and I got to do what I got to do, right? So my job is to do that. If it's not called contact tracing, they call us contact reporters. I'm doing the contact reporting. So now that we have a new initiative, that's a possibility. It's not required for every school, but they're saying that you could do a 7-day test every week. You do another test. So what happens is they ship the kit over. You ask for how many you want. You test the students, do the swab. It's school personnel doing this, not Department of Health, not some outside agency. It's the school doing all of these things. After you do all the testing, then you got to take it down to UPS and they got to ship it over to whoever lab it is. And then you request for another set of kits for the following weekend. So it is something that was brought up at today's meeting that we had. The resources we have is the same resources we have every day. Like we have one health nurse who's taking care of all these issues that are going on. I don't have a vice principal, so it would be me. So doing 350 kids every 7 days, I mean, it's good to do. I think it would be good to do, but we just don't have the resources. So I'm just going to throw it out there. If there's parents who want to come in to help volunteer and do these things, I mean, it would probably help us. I got to figure out if that's possible for volunteers to come on campus to do this, but we have the same amount of people. It's not like the DOE saying, oh, we're going to throw 4 more people at your school to do these testings. It's the same, all of us who's in the office staff and in our health, and we're the ones that have to do these things. So if you're willing to volunteer and help us do this every week, just call the school, give me your name, give me your phone number, then I'll double check with the district office and state personnel if this is possible, because again, we're not getting more people coming on our campus to do this. It's not Department of Health coming in to do this. You're looking at me doing it. You're looking at my school health assistant. And it's not like we're trained, but if they're telling us that we got to do it, then we'll do the best that we can. So, but again, volunteers, if you want, just call the school, leave your name and number. And if there's some way I can get you guys to help us out, I mean, that's the only way we can get this kind of stuff done. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it sounds like it's something you would consider. Just right now, due to resource constraints, it's just not possible. So yeah, families, I guess if you're, I did get that question from multiple parents actually, and hopefully
Sure.
you're listening tonight. And so if you have the capability and you have the time to be able to support the school, definitely call the school and let them know. There was another question, similarly related, I guess, on the same vein though, that, could parents even just donate the test kit to their classroom? Would that be something the school would even consider accepting?
So I think for the test kit wise, we could always request it because I think the DOE can get it for free. It's the manpower that's got to be doing all these things. You can drop off 30 kits, but then you're asking the teacher to do 30 swabs every week. I don't know, like something's going to have to give, right? There's only so much time in a day, right? If they're going to be swabbing all these kids, then there goes the instruction in the classroom, right? So I'm not saying it's not possible. Everything is possible, but we just got to understand that when we ask for one thing, then something else is going to have to come off the plate because we cannot be doing everything, yeah, right now. So it's the way the times are. But again, manpower is super helpful. Like if you're willing to volunteer to do these things, I gotta double check if we can have volunteers doing this as opposed to just school staff, because one student, a school health aide, to do 350 kids, oh, that's kind of a lot to do, right? And that's every week, right? We're doing it, right? Every week. And then you get the results back. then we got to contact parents, and then do it again the following week, right? So I'm not saying it's impossible, it's possible, but then with more manpower, it makes things easier.
Great. And again, as the Aikane president, if you find out that parents actually can support with this, let us know. We're happy to notify all of our families, and what kind of time, time obligations are going to be asked in order to do this. Because obviously this is on the top of the minds of many of our families at Nuuanu,
Sure.
if not all of us. Um, Switching over to, I know you manage the everyday day-to-day of the school environment. Have you heard of any COVID cases actually relating to the before school program or the A plus program?
So whenever we get a COVID positive test, I gotta go through all these different groups, that whether it's after school programs like A plus, whether it's before school programs, if students went to different classrooms during the day, during recess, I gotta contact. There's so many people that I have to get in touch with, and that's why, like what I was mentioning earlier, if your child is sick, it's best if you just keep them at home, because if they go to before school program, then they come to school, and then they go to recess, and then they go to after school programs. All these people I have to contact, and that one child just requires everybody else now to quarantine, right? Because of one person. And sometimes kind of help. You didn't know, the parent didn't know, the child wasn't sick the whole day until you got home at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, right? But if you just notice that something is going wrong and something is not right, just err on the side of caution, because exactly what the person, whoever asked this question, like, yeah, I have to contact before school, I have to contact after school A plus, all the after school programs that this child went to for this particular day, I have to do that. I got to call the teacher. Did they go to any specials classes? There's just so many things that involve just because of one student. Yeah, so err on the side of caution.
And I suppose, I mean, really the question was if it's happening in one of these cases, but it's probably really hard to identify at what point of the day did this occur. Did it
Correct.
happen before,
Correct.
after school, or during
Correct.
school? So you just have to err on notify
Right.
everybody.
Right. Correct.
Okay. Again, parents, we're about halfway through tonight's event. So if you have additional questions, I'm going down the list of questions that I received in advance of tonight's talk story. But if you have additional questions, please throw it into your chat or your Q&A box there at the bottom of your Zoom right now. Sticking with COVID for just a little bit longer, unless I get more questions, we're clearly not the only school experiencing these COVID cases. I don't want to put any quotes right now because I don't remember the exact, but there's, anecdotally, pretty much every school has experienced some kind of COVID case, throughout this year. There are many schools who are similar to us, very small, resource constraints. Are you hearing, you're talking with other principals, are you hearing things that are happening outside at other schools related to COVID that maybe you're like, hey, that's a good strategy and you're considering implementing at Nuuanu Elementary?
So as principals, I think we're kind of like, it's just very overwhelming for us as well, because, you know, last year was kind of stressful, but this year, like, the numbers are increasingly ridiculous, right? But we got to make do what, direction of the DOE is going, and we want to try to be as supportive as possible, because majority of our parents want our kids in school. Right now, I can honestly say for distance learning, those who signed up, there's like maybe like 9 or 10 families, and that's because of extenuating circumstances with family members. So I know our families want their children in school. So we always debrief in the evenings with different schools, like what's working and what's not working. I share what we're doing at Nuuanu. It's not a perfect thing. It's not like we're perfect, but I think what we're doing is on the right track. If there's ways that we can try to cohort students during recess, or break them up or whatever, we try our best to do it. It's not going to be perfect, but again, when you have different layers of strategies involved, if one is not working, the other 9 step in, right? Or the other 7 are in there. And so every school is trying their best to make sure that the children are safe, because for me, 350 students, they're like my children. So I want to make sure that when they get dropped off at school, they go home in the same or even better condition when they leave in the afternoon, and they had a nice day at school. So yeah, we talk a lot, different principals, we talk, and we try to find ways to improve what we're doing in our schools.
Got it. I know at the last coffee talk, there was questions about re-implementing the temperature checks that were happening at school. I think at that time, it was not one of the practices that were seen as successful from I want to say CDC, but have you given any additional thought around re-implementing the temperature checks at the start of the school day?
So we did have that discussion. And, back in January, as I'd mentioned, the CDC mentioned in January that, temperature checks weren't something that was like a mitigation strategy. And so we just continued it on until the end of to the summertime, and then we stopped. Looking at how it was working and so forth. For us, most of the students, I want to say 99.9% of the kids who came out of the car, the temperature check wasn't something that said, oh yeah, you got to go home. I don't think we turned away a single, I don't even know if we turned away a single child doing the temperature check, honestly, unless their car was, the heater was on, we'd have them come out, sit outside for a bit. We take their temperature afterwards. But, the temperature check for us, it wasn't something that was, to me, it wasn't that beneficial. So that's the reason why we kind of stopped it as well.
Got it. Obviously there's a lot going on for you guys, high stress, a lot of stuff going on. From a family perspective, is there anything that the families can do to better support you, better support the teachers at Nuuanu during this crazy and very stressful time right now?
The only thing I could kind of say is, like I said, our upper grade students, they love to volao, I guess they would say it, right? Talk story and stuff. And I totally get it. Like they're in class, they're have to sit behind a plexiglass all day and they don't get to have that conversation. So, if you can just remind your child, like when that mask comes off, there goes your protection, right? So eat quickly, then put your mask back on. You can talk all you want. So that's one of the things that we constantly stress, in the cafeteria, because they take that mask off, they have to eat, they can't eat through their mask, right? So it's unbelievable. If you were to go in there and our kindergarten first graders, they're like, boom, they got it, man. These guys are amazing. These kindergarten first second graders, they're awesome. So I know our upper grade students can do it too, but they just enjoy socializing. So just remind your child, eat first, have a conversation afterwards, and then with your mask on. That's one thing I would say. And the second thing to help us out is, if your child is sick, please just have them stay home. If somebody in your family is sick, please have them stay home. Even if you're not sure, just I'm not sure, you hung out with this person, they were sick, you know what, maybe you should just stay home too. It's better to err on the side of caution than try to impact all the other families that are bringing their kids to school.
Thank you. And I'm going to throw in one of my own plugs, just because I'm constantly yelling at my own children about putting on their mask properly. Because my children love to just, like, it falls under the nose and it's not actually covered. And so, I think, again, just reminders of proper face mask wearing, hand washing, just all of your basic protocols that I'm sure, as all of us families, we're at home telling our kids off campus, just reminding that they continue to do that while they're on campus.
The teachers do a wonderful job. I mean, they have them standing on the 6 feet apart nene feet. They have them wash their hands from recess, from lunch, and things like that. So ventilation is in the classroom. We're getting more air purifiers for certain classrooms. So we have all these mitigation strategies in place, but it's not 100% foolproof. I can tell you that it's not. But what we're doing, I think, is making a difference. So if you can send those reminders home with your children, then it just reinforces what we're doing in the school.
Great, thank you. Again, families, if you have questions throughout tonight's event, throw it down there in the chat or the Q&A box. I am monitoring it and getting to it as best as possible. We have one more COVID question so far, and then I'm going to move over to some other questions unless we get some more in. For a close contact student who will be quarantined as an excused absence, but what if there's a close contact of a close contact? Like a close contact of a close contact, is that an excused absence or an unexcused?
So when there's a contact of a contact, we try to err on the side of caution again, and we let the parent know, if you're going to get one tested, you might as well get the other child tested too, just to be safe. Because if you find out that your first child is positive, now you're gonna have to get your second child tested anyway. So to err on the side of caution, we send out messages to our families that, oh yeah, this person will be quarantining. If they get a negative test result, then they'll be back earlier than the person who has to stay out for the 10 days. So it usually would be an excused absent, not an unexcused, but an excused absent for the person who is a contact of a contact. And we have that chain of emails that we go on so that our front office is aware, the teacher is aware, our school health aide is aware, so that we have that communication going on. And then when we get the results back from the doctor, from the parent who gives us the results back, and we let everybody know as well.
Great. And I'm assuming that probably one of the cases that it's a contact of a contact are siblings. There's many siblings at the school.
Correct.
So can you remind us what the policy is around siblings? If one sibling gets a thing about maybe being in close contact or isn't feeling well, what does the other sibling do?
Okay, so according to the Department of Health, what they're saying is, if you're a contact of a close contact. Okay, so the Department of Health is saying this now. Okay, follow along now. Okay, so if you're a contact of a close contact, you do not need to quarantine. You don't have to. You can still go to school. But for us, we just want to make sure that, children are safe. And sometimes in the family, right, even though the older one has to quarantine, the younger one, we still want them to, hey, just get that test just in case. Because, if your older one is sick and now you bring your young one to school, now your young one just infected everybody else who's in the other class, right? So according to DOH, the contact of a contact does not need to quarantine. But for us, we try our best to encourage parents, hey, maybe just get a test today or get the test tomorrow and then come back the next day just to make sure that your child is safe. So that's the side that we take, on the side of caution. Yeah.
And in that case, for that sibling who's staying home to take the test, that would be
Right.
considered an excused
An
absence.
excuse absent. Yes, yes, yes.
Great. Okay. And then, of course, if this sibling who's the contact of a close contact ends up getting a negative result, then they can come back to school.
Correct. That
That's
is correct. Yes, yes.
wonderful. Thank you for clarifying that. I know
Yeah.
all the siblings out there, we appreciate having that information.
Well, let me just clarify. That's as of today. Okay, at September 9th at 6:42, because things always change. And so we just got to roll with it and try to be flexible with that. So as of today, that's how we do it. Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. I'm going to switch away from COVID for a little bit, give you a little reprieve on that, unless we get some more questions in. We're coming up to the time of year that there's normally parent-teacher conferences. Are there plans for parent-teacher conferences this year?
So yes, we are going to have parent-teacher conferences. We were planning to have them face-to-face this school year. We were, but with the numbers going up, and I think for everybody's safety, for parents or children, and even for our teachers and staff, I think we're going to move to being virtual. Now, I think there were a couple of teachers that asked me, hey, Ned, if parents, kind of want this and I'm okay with it, is it okay to do face-to-face? We have to kind of talk about that, because the DOE is saying, for people to come on our campus now, they got to make sure that they have the vaccination card, they're vaccinated, or they have to go through that 7-day COVID testing. And so it's going to be a virtual parent-teacher conference, and probably on a case-by-case basis, working carefully with your child's teacher. If you kind of prefer face-to-face, it's up to the teacher, because I don't want to put them in jeopardy as well. Yeah, their health is very important, because if they have to quarantine for 10 days, then your child is out without a teacher for 10 days, and we don't want that to happen too, right? So it's going to be a virtual conference, and depending, you work with your teacher if they're able to do a face-to-face. If you prefer that route, then you have to work carefully with them, and it's going to be on a case-by-case basis.
Got it. But no matter what, whether it's in person or a virtual, all teachers will be holding a parent-teacher conference this year?
Yes, we will have a parent-teacher conference. So we're working on the forms. It'll probably go out before the break happens, so that we can kind of organize the events and all that. So
great, wonderful, thank you. After school programs, there was a huge amount of after school programs this year. Thank you so much. That's been something that the parents in past surveys have said that they want it more. We've got karate, I see kids with ukulele. There's different kinds of sports activities, basketball, soccer. I mean, I actually can't remember them all right now, because there's quite a lot. How is it going? And are there actually, were they all filled, or how did that work?
So I got to entertain myself today. I went down to watch the ukulele class, and they were playing Mary Had a Little Lamb. I got to see hip hop this afternoon as well. The kids were dancing. They were having fun. They were kind of in rhythm. I thought they were okay, but they were shoulder shaking and things like that. And then we had basketball on Fridays and bricks for kids and stuff. So I think there may be a little bit room left for some activities. But for me, that's something that I've always enjoyed. Even when I was a child, my parents had signed me up for all these activities. And for me, I just want to provide your children with this opportunities. If you want to take advantage of them and do it, that's fine. If you don't want to, that's okay too. So we do have a bunch of activities on our campus. I'm still looking for like a Japanese teacher. I think that's one thing that one of the parents had put on the surveys from May of last school year. So I'm still trying to look for like a Japanese or a language teacher. But other than that, I think from the survey that was sent out, the informal survey that was sent out last April, May, I think I was able to try to fulfill all the responses and the requests that parents have put in. So I'm happy. The kids are happy after school. So as long as I see smiles and they're having fun, I'm happy. So
that's awesome. And you've got enough demand. Are there is the plan to continue into next school year, at least at this point?
Yeah, as long as the instructors are willing to do it. They seem to be having fun. The instructors are having fun and they're happy to be on our campus. So again, they're still required to follow all the protocols for what we do in school, wearing your mask. If their mask comes off, we ask them if they can make sure that they're 6 feet apart. So we still have those things in place for them as well. But yeah, I'm having a blast. And if you guys can think of other things that your children may be interested in doing, shoot me an email. If I can find someone who's willing to do it, we can start that class in the second semester, if it works out. So
Great, thank you. Last time we talked, for maybe families who weren't there, the school had received a lot of wonderful donations for outdoor school benches with covered areas, I think from Home Depot, if I remember correctly. Any updates? I think we got half of them. We're still waiting for a few more. Any updates on that, or maybe even other donations you might have received?
So we have the picnic tables out by third, fourth, and fifth grade, and we have some by kindergarten. We're still waiting for like by second grade and first grade, but honestly, like the fourth grade, fifth grade, I think third grade, they really utilize those picnic benches for outdoor learning. So it's super awesome. And the umbrellas really help too because it provides shade for them as well. So they have indoor learning and outdoor learning, very flexible learning, very flexible seating. So they're taking advantage of that. And I did email Home Depot, and again, they're donating these items, so I don't want to be a pest. But I do ask, when you get your new shipment come in, let me know, if we got to pick it up, we'll pick it up. But I think what we have right now is working. The picnic tables by kindergarten side, first grade, I don't know if they're being utilized every day or often, but if I was a kindergarten teacher and kind of by first grade, I'd be happy with the AC that they get in the classroom. So maybe that's why it's not being utilized as much, big thanks to Aikane for getting the ACs, especially on these hot days. I mean, it's been working out well. So our custodians worked hard at putting those benches together. The Nakamura family donated all their children to come and build those benches and put them together. And so we've been just very blessed of what we have so far. And if people want to donate things, let me know. If there's ways we can use it, if you know connections, let me know, and we'll see how we can utilize it at the school.
Thank you. And speaking of ACs, we actually did get a question about if I can share a little bit more about the timeline of the AC installation. So that has been our mission. That is my honest personal goal before I retire as your president, is to make sure our entire school is air conditioned. And so our board has been working really hard on that. Started with fifth grade, actually before many of us were on the board. Fifth grade was had ACs first, then third grade. This past summer, we were able to do all of kindergarten plus one of the first grade classrooms. So what we've got left is the remaining building for first grade. We have second grade and we have fourth grade. And of course, we would love to be able to air condition our office. Our wonderful office staff is amazing and they're always great for us. And so we want to, of course, make sure we take care of them as well. And so that's the end goal. That is, if I'm counting correctly in my head, and a board member, please throw something in the chat if I'm doing my math wrong right now. I want to say it's at least 4 more buildings. Each building does cost us closer to $8,000 with inflation every year. Obviously, the number keeps going up. And so quite frankly, I don't have a timeline. It really depends on how quickly we can raise that money and what other expected expenditures that we may have coming up. Our hope, our anticipation is that we're really hoping we can do at least one more air conditioning over the winter break. And then fingers crossed right now, we're gonna see how this goes. We're really hoping we can do our family fun night next year. That's always held in April, May time period. It's one of our funnest events, of course, for the kids. They have a blast. It also raises some of the most money we get all year. If we can hold that, we highly believe that we could at least be able to air condition the other 2 classrooms over the summer. Maybe not the office quite yet, but that is our goal. We really would love to be able to finish the classrooms this year. It is really dependent on the generosity of all of our families, of our community. We do reach out to community sponsors out there as well. So if anyone has any connections with an air conditioning company, or anyone who can do the installation for a lower cost or free, please let us know. I mean, we're always looking to see what we can do. But that's the timeline. We've all got kids, who have either been in the non-AC rooms or are still in the non-AC rooms, and it is hot. It is a hot. So that's our goal. That's our goal. And hopefully we can do it with all of your support. So thank you so much. I'm going to move over a little bit to some communications. Website's looking good. There's been a big overhaul this year, adding some more information. One of the questions that came in, we're getting a lot of information via email. Like you said, there's 2% of families who aren't receiving emails. or maybe families who quite frankly are like me. We don't get to all of our emails every single day, or or we don't get to them about 24 to 48 hours later. There was a suggestion, could we post the memos and the messages that we're getting via email also on the website? Or is there other communication vehicles where we can access the same information?
Okay, that's a good question. Unfortunately, I know I always have to start with the unfortunate, the bad news, but they don't want us to post COVID things on our website. Other things we can post, but the communications office strictly said, send it out through either a direct school messenger or a notice home to families. So that's one thing we cannot post COVID information on our website about flyers and stuff like that on COVID stuff. So that's why we send it directly to school messenger. But other things, yes, definitely we will post it on our calendars, we'll post it on our websites. Yes.
Great, thank you. Another non-COVID, and then I'm going to switch back. I did see some COVID-related questions are coming in on their Q&A, so I will get there, but not COVID-related. Apparently that there are times at pickup, right, where families are lined up, the cars are backed out, sometimes all the way spilling all the way onto Poly Highway, which is amazing right now with all the construction that continues to happen. Has the school considered re-implementing a staggered drop-off or pickup schedule, or are there other mitigation strategies in consideration right now to help with that?
Okay, that's a good question. So we did discuss this as a faculty about having one release time or staggered release times. And we chose to do a one-time pickup is because there's after-school programs that are involved, a lot of after-school things. And if a child has to wait till like 2:45 or 2:50 to start the after-school program because they get out at 2:15, but the other guys don't get released until 2:40, then things like that interrupt what you can and cannot do. And people have to be in different places because their responsibility is to be at the curb till 2:50. But then how am I going to get my club started? Because now the kids are going to be like all over the place, right? So we decided to have one drop-off time. And I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, you guys probably not going to believe me, but like for today, we got 350 students, okay, to their respectful place within 10 minutes. I don't know of any other school you can do that, but the parents are super responsible at picking up their children on time. Today was like a record, honestly. By 2:25, there was probably only one child left, and that parent was stuck in traffic, so he eventually got there about 2:30. But 350 students to get to A plus or picked up by their families within 10 to 15 minutes is quite amazing. So here's the thing: if you come at 2:10, you're not going to move because the kids don't get out of school till 2:15. So you're going to be stuck in a line of traffic, a line of cars. But once the students start coming out at 2:15, they come out a little bit earlier. Some classes come out a little bit earlier. That's when you're going to see cars moving because the kids are getting into their vehicle and they're moving, right? So if you decide to come early and you come at like 2:10 or 2:05, you're probably going to be stuck in some traffic because none of the kids are out, the cars are not going to move. But if you come around 2:15-ish, the kids will be coming out, cars will be starting to move. So that's the one thing I would want to share with you is do that. Or you come really early and park in the parking lot. So that way you don't have to get stuck in traffic and so forth. But it is quite amazing, honestly, if you are just to sit on the side and watch it, and if you saw 350 kids, wow, how do you get all these kids to their parents or to A plus within that amount of time? I think our systems that we have in place is pretty good. I mean, yeah, it could always be better, but there are going to be days if you come a little early, you're going to be stuck and you may be stuck down by the pulley. But I'm hopeful that once the cars come out, once the kids come out, the cars will move. Yeah.
Thank
Oh,
you.
I know. Put the nameplate on your dashboard too. That helps. The nameplate, it helps tremendously. Like we get kids out there super fast because we can see, who they belong to, what vehicle. So if you have your nameplate on your car, put that on your dash when you come and pick up too.
Great, thank you. This is a great suggestion. Parents are not able to walk on campus right now, so we're not able to see those awesome picnic tables that are out there. We're not able to see anything that's new that's going on campus. Are you able to at least maybe take some pictures that's happening around campus, show our community what's going on?
I actually did that. I have some pictures on my phone, which the hard part is I got to make sure that these kids can be allowed to be, I guess, put on our website. So
Yep.
I can do that. I can take pictures of our in fact, I think I have it on our Facebook page. I think I have these picnic tables on our Facebook page. But yeah, we can put some of these pictures with probably without students on there. I can put it probably on our website.
Great. And I'm going to put a little plug in for those families who are very social and on Instagram and Facebook. Aikane Nuuanu has a Instagram and a Facebook page. So you can look for us by looking at Aikane Nuuanu and Nuuanu Elementary.
I don't know if you can see the kids on there.
We
So this is outside of the classrooms. This is the kids doing their outdoor learning under these picnic tables. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. Can you guys see that? Could you see it?
Yeah, thank you. But if not, go check out Nuuanu Elementary Schools. Is it just Facebook or you have Facebook and Instagram, Principal?
We just have Facebook. Sorry, kind of old school, yeah. But yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. You know, so
It's still a step up. So families, check that out. Anything that Nuuanu posts, we'll attempt to reshare on Aikane Nuuanu's Facebook and Insta as well. And going back to when classes are released, what time again are classes officially released?
they're released at 2:15. But some teachers bring their kids down about maybe 2:10, 2:12, just to kind of like stagger a little bit. But it's everybody gets released at like 2:15. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, I'm
Oh,
gonna.
sorry. On Wednesdays we get out at 1:30. Don't forget, because if not, I'm staying with your kid. I'm sitting there. If you guys see me, I'm sitting there with your child at like 2:15, because some people sometimes they forget Wednesdays is a short day. So yeah, Wednesdays is 1:30 though.
Thank you. So 1:30 and 1:30 on Wednesdays, 2:15 on the rest of the days of the week that there is school.
Correct.
Do you happen to know this answer? I actually don't, and if not, we can make sure we follow up about the after-school A+ program for Nuuanu YMCA. I believe that there may still be some families who are on the waiting list. You know, do you know if they've been able to secure another A+ teacher or not?
So they're still working on that. I know they are. I think there were like 60 students or so that were on the wait list, and they're doing the best that they can to get faculty to get more staff. They have to train them and all that, but during these COVID times it is a little bit difficult to find people, you know, and they have to get their COVID tests and all that kind of stuff too. So I know the A+ is working hard. They're trying their best to accommodate our parents. Their limit, I think, is like 20 or 21 kids per each individual leader. I'm sure they could do more, but I think they want to err on the side of caution to make sure they can supervise, you know, everybody who's in the program. They could probably put 40 kids in there, but it's not very safe. Yeah, so they want to just make sure that your child is safe when they go to these programs. But I'll check with them again. But I'm sure I know they're working their best, their tail off to hire new people.
Great, thank you. There was a question again about parent-teacher conferences. The plan is to hold them virtually this year with a case-by-case basis to hold them in person. So information will be coming out soon to all of our families. And of course, if you haven't received something from your teacher, definitely reach out to them and see what's going on. I'm going to move back over to COVID.
Okay, we didn't send out information for PT conferences yet. We're working on it. We will
Sorry.
send it out. We will send it. Yeah, we will send it out. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying. Yes,
Okay.
it will be coming out. What time of year typically is that going to be held?
So we have it, I think, on our schedule. We have it on. Oh, you gotta ask me the toughest question. Yeah, the
Sorry.
principal gotta know this kind of stuff, right? So, hold on. So it's gonna be after the fall break. I think we're starting it on November 1st.
Okay.
Yeah, November 1st is the first day. Yeah.
Great, thank you. That's a good timeline. So families, November will be parent-teacher conferences. You can mark that down.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch back to COVID.
Okay.
So what if a child believes, right? Like you said, there's the coconut wireless going on at Nuuanu Elementary School.
Sure, yeah.
Right? I mean, we know if your kids are
Right.
talking, hey, half my class was missing today, whatever it may be. Right. And so what if the child says, I think I might have been in close contact with this classmate or a friend who's been missing? What should the parent do at that point in time?
Well, they should let us know. So what usually happens if a parent notifies me that, you know, their child tested positive, then I check with the child, I check with the parent. Can you name me all the students who are within 3 feet, 15 minutes over a 24-hour period? And so when they give me the names, I'm going to take it as if it's actually true. Even if a kindergartner tells me this, I have to take it because it's true, right? They played with the student, and I want to make sure that everybody is safe. So I will contact everybody that child said that they were in contact with, check with A+, check with before school programs, check with all the different teachers involved. But shoot, maybe we overlooked somebody. And if your child feels like, hey, I was kind of close to this person, please let us know. It doesn't hurt to self-quarantine and get tested just to make sure to, again, err on the side of caution. So you can do that on your end as well.
Thank you. Sticking on COVID, we understand that there's, I'm reading the question right now, that there are manpower restraints to test everyone at school. But if the school has tests available, could they be taken home so the families could actually do the test instead?
That is a great question. And so that was a question that we had asked as well, but they need to verify that there was like a employee in the area that's verifying that, yeah, that test was actually valid. Not like you gave it to Auntie to take it and then now you bring it back and say, oh yeah, we took it and he's fine. I'm not that saying parents would do that, but I think that's what they were saying. That's why it had to be done like on a DOE campus or with some type of DOE employee nearby so that it's kind of verified. Yeah. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
you cannot take it home and just do it at home. Yeah.
Got it.
That would be a good one though. That would be a good one, but yeah, cannot, right? At this time, cannot.
Thank you. Thanks to that parent for being
Yeah,
resourceful.
yeah.
Hopefully,
That was a
you
good
know,
question.
keep coming up with some good
Yeah,
ideas.
yeah, right.
Yeah, I only have one more question in the chat right now. I know we're just over time. Again, families, though, principal is willing to stay for just a couple more minutes. So if you've got burning questions, send that in right now. If not, I'm going to wrap right after this next question. It really is around some promotion about our Facebook pages. And so if you're not following us, Aikane o Nuuanu on Facebook is called at Aikane o Nuuanu. We have, I don't know if you can see my phone right now, maybe not, but there is a rainbow picture across and there's the nene that is inside our little circle. And I'm going to look up Nuuanu Elementary. So Nuuanu Elementary's Facebook page looks like this, where it has the picture of our Nuuanu sign that we see every single day. Larry, you can see my mom's texting me at the same time as I'm trying to show this. But that is the Nuuanu Elementary Facebook page. So those are the two official Facebook pages that you want to like so that you can get the latest and greatest information happening at our school. So please check that out. I'm not seeing any other questions come in at the moment. If you do, while I just do my really quick wrap up, I will definitely, get to it. But again, thank you so much, families, for joining. We had over 30 families with us tonight. We really appreciate you taking time away from your families, away from dinner time to join us tonight. We hope we're able to get to all of your questions. At the end of this event, as you start to close out, you're going to be prompted to take a quick 3-minute survey at the end. It's just really to keep a pulse check on how valuable are these events. Do you want to really keep holding them? Is there anything we missed that we should have asked that we didn't get to? So if you can take that, thank you to the families who have been taking it. It's showing us that right now you truly appreciate these events. So we are planning to continue to hold them every single month, again, on the second Thursday.
I have one more thing that I want to share before you wrap it up, okay? If you can, if you do call the school or you talk to your teacher, just give them a shout out, give them a thank you, because I know it's a stressful time for you. I honestly do. But it's an extremely stressful time for our teachers as well. And just hearing a little thank you, or, we appreciate what you do, even to our office staff, just give them a call and say, hey, thank you so much for the work that you do. Because honestly, like a lot of the calls we get are kind of like, how come you guys aren't, the delivery guy's coming at 4:30 in the morning. He's beeping the whole time and I can't, we get those kind of calls. So if you do call the school, just hey, thanks a lot for the work that you do. I'm sure our teachers, our staff would really appreciate it. I know you guys are doing a lot of work at home too. It's not an easy time for you as well. But if you can, when you make a call or an email to your teacher, just tell them thank you. We really appreciate all the work that you do.
Thank you. And yeah, that's such an important reminder for sure. Like mahalo our teachers every single day. It's quite frankly a thankless job. And every time I look at these news stories, I say, oh my God, our teachers should be paid way more. My personal opinion. Okay, I'm throwing that in there. But actually, really quick, could you actually tell us a little bit more about what tomorrow's school assembly is about? I don't think we've gotten actually a lot of information about what this is tomorrow.
Okay, so again, this is my first assembly. It was supposed to be a welcome back assembly. I think we're supposed to use it. We're going to do it like a couple of weeks ago. Like we were trying to doing it in person, but because of all this COVID things, we had to move it to virtual. It's just a welcome back assembly for the students to welcome them back to school. It's kind of on a secret side. They didn't share all their information with me. So there's going to be some games and some activities that are virtual and live at the same time. So I don't know the entire scoops, but the committee that's putting this together, they've been chuckling about things. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it's about too. So this will be my first assembly with the school as well, because I didn't do one last year when we had our COVID and all that. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. And remind your kids to wear green, green and white, or their school shirt.
Awesome, thanks. Well, I guess we look forward to hearing more about that assembly and the next coffee talk and see how it goes. Is there a link that all of the parents can like sneak in and watch?
I'm not
Joking,
sure. I'm not sure.
joking,
I just,
joking.
it's so top secret. Like they were like having it in the library, then in another counselor's room. And so it'll be entertaining from what I hear. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. So
Awesome. Well, thank you, families. I don't see any more questions coming in. So just again, a reminder, these coffee talks held the second Thursday of every month, except for, of course, if there's a school break, in which case you'll be notified. Check out our website, nuuanuschool.org. We're posting everything there on our website. Check out the school's website as well. We've been doing a lot of great cross promotion. Thank you so much to the school. Board meetings next week, Thursday. If you want to join us, check it out, hear what the board is doing, hear how your money is being spent, hear what the next steps are. Definitely come check it out. It is, again, posted on our website. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook, check us on Instagram. Again, watch our websites. Thank you guys so much for everything and being a great school community. Send some love to your teachers, your faculty, your staff. Have a little
and the
kindness.
PTO, and send a thank you to the PTO as well. They're working hard behind the scenes for everybody. Believe me, they are.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And just continue to show some kindness during these crazy times right now. Stay safe, everyone, and stay well. So we look forward to chatting with you guys again next month.
Thank you,
Take
Moani.
care,
Thank you
everyone.
very much. Thank you for the work that you do, Moani. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Uemae. Thank you to my amazing board who's on here right now too. So
Okay, thank you, board members. Yes, thank you, board members as well. Thank you.
thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.